Are you staring at beautiful pepper plants but seeing zero actual peppers? It's incredibly frustrating when your hard work doesn't translate into a harvest. Picture this. You've lovingly tended to your pepper plants, watched them grow tall and lush with vibrant green foliage, yet weeks pass and not a single pepper appears. What if I told you there are hidden culprits sabotaging your pepper harvest, secrets most gardeners overlook? In this comprehensive guide, we're digging deep into the root causes of why your peppers aren't producing, and I'll show you exactly how to turn those barren plants into a bounty that will make your neighbors green with envy. The most heartbreaking scenario in pepper gardening is witnessing plants that appear perfectly healthy yet refuse to set fruit. Your peppers might boast robust stems, abundant foliage, and even beautiful flowers, but if those blossoms aren't converting into peppers, something fundamental is amiss. This deceptive appearance of health often misleads gardeners into thinking they're doing everything correctly, when in reality several invisible factors are working against their harvest. Many gardeners fall victim to the common misconception that a lush, green pepper plant equals a productive one. However, excessive vegetative growth often signals an imbalance that actually inhibits fruit production. When plants channel all their energy into leaf and stem development, they neglect their primary reproductive purpose. Understanding this distinction is crucial for setting realistic expectations and implementing the right strategies for a thriving pepper season. The key to pepper success lies in creating conditions that encourage your plants to shift from vegetative growth to reproductive mode. This transition requires a delicate balance of environmental factors, nutrients, and timing that, when properly orchestrated, transforms your pepper plants from pretty ornamentals into prolific producers. Temperature fluctuations are honestly one of the most overlooked yet devastating factors affecting pepper production. Peppers, they're just incredibly sensitive to temperature swings, and even those seemingly minor variations can cause flower drop and prevent fruit set. When nighttime temperatures dip below 55 degrees Fahrenheit or soar above 75, or when daytime temperatures consistently go over 85, your pepper plants basically shut down their reproductive processes as a survival mechanism. The optimal temperature range for pepper fruit set is, remarkably narrow, typically between 65 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit at night and 70 to 85 during the day. When temperatures venture outside this comfort zone, the delicate pollen just becomes non-viable, and existing flowers abort rather than develop into peppers. This, honestly, explains why gardeners in regions with unpredictable spring weather or intense summer heat often struggle with pepper production, even if everything else seems pretty ideal. Watering practices, they create another layer of environmental stress that directly impacts pepper productivity. Inconsistent watering schedules can really confuse your plants, triggering stress responses that prioritize survival over reproduction. Too much water leads to waterlogged conditions that prevent proper root function and nutrient uptake, while too little water causes stress that makes plants shed flowers and young fruits. The sweet spot, honestly, involves maintaining consistently moist but well-draining soil and providing deep, less frequent watering sessions that encourage deep root development. Sunlight requirements for peppers extend beyond simply providing enough light hours. While peppers need 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight daily, the intensity and timing of that light significantly influence fruit production. Morning sun followed by some afternoon protection in extremely hot climates often produces better results than all-day intense exposure. Additionally, plants receiving inconsistent light due to shade patterns from buildings or trees may develop strong vegetatively but struggle to generate the energy needed for fruit development. Nitrogen overload represents the most common nutritional mistake that leads to spectacular foliage with zero pepper production. When gardeners apply high nitrogen fertilizers thinking they're feeding their plants well, they inadvertently trigger excessive leaf growth at the expense of flowering and fruiting. Nitrogen acts like a growth hormone for foliage, and too much creates pepper plants that resemble small trees but produce no peppers. The solution involves understanding that pepper plants need different nutritional support at different growth stages. During early establishment, moderate nitrogen helps build plant structure, but as plants mature and begin flowering, they require increased phosphorus and potassium, while nitrogen levels should be reduced. Phosphorus drives flower formation and early fruit development, while potassium supports fruit maturation and overall plant health throughout the growing season. Soil pH plays a critical yet often ignored role in pepper productivity. When soil pH strays outside the optimal range of 6.0 to 6.8, even perfectly balanced fertilizers become useless because plants just can't access the nutrients. Acidic soils lock up phosphorus and calcium, leading to poor flower development and blossom end rot. On the other hand, alkaline conditions make iron and other micronutrients unavailable, which causes chlorosis and weak plant vigor that translates to poor fruit production. Testing your soil pH should be among your first diagnostic steps when peppers aren't producing. Simple pH meters or test strips provide quick answers, and adjusting pH through sulfur applications for alkaline soils or lime for acidic conditions can dramatically improve pepper yields within a single growing season. Inadequate pollination often flies under the radar as a cause of poor pepper production because pepper flowers are self-pollinating and don't require bees or other pollinators. However, this self-sufficiency depends on proper pollen transfer within individual flowers, which requires gentle movement from wind or vibration. In greenhouse environments, indoor growing situations, or unusually calm outdoor conditions, flowers may not receive sufficient movement to achieve pollination. Hand pollination becomes a valuable technique when natural pollination fails. Using a small paintbrush or cotton swab to gently transfer pollen from flower to flower, or simply tapping flowering stems daily, can significantly improve fruit set. This practice is especially beneficial for container-grown peppers in protected locations or during periods of still weather. Pest pressure targeting flowers and young fruits creates another layer of production problems. Aphids, thrips, and spider mites not only damage plants directly, but also interfere with pollination by damaging flower structures or transmitting diseases that cause flower drop. Cutworms and other caterpillars may consume flower buds before they open, while root-dwelling pests like nematodes weaken plants systemically, reducing their ability to support fruit development. Disease prevention strategies prove essential for maintaining productive pepper plants throughout the growing season. Fungal diseases like bacterial spot and viral infections transmitted by insects can cause widespread flower drop and prevent fruit set even when environmental conditions seem ideal. Implementing proper spacing for air circulation, avoiding overhead watering that promotes disease development, and practicing crop rotation help maintain plant health necessary for consistent pepper production. Immediate improvements start with environmental adjustments that, honestly, can transform your pepper harvest within just a few weeks. Things like installing shade cloth during extreme heat, using row covers when there's a cool snap, and setting up consistent watering schedules through drip irrigation or soaker hoses. These all address the most common environmental stressors. And switching to a lower nitrogen, higher phosphorus fertilizer when your plants are flowering gives them the nutritional shift they need to move from leafy growth into producing fruit. Long-term strategies for consistent high yields, well, they really come down to soil preparation and variety selection, which set the foundation for success season after season. By building up soil organic matter with regular compost additions, you improve water retention and nutrient availability, plus you promote all that beneficial microbial activity that keeps your plants healthy. And choosing pepper varieties that are suited to your specific climate zone and growing conditions, that just eliminates a lot of those environmental stress factors that can limit your production. Creating your personalized pepper plant success checklist, it just makes sure you address all the critical factors in a systematic way. So, monitor daily temperatures and provide protection if conditions go outside those optimal ranges. Set up weekly soil moisture checks to keep your watering consistent. Test your soil pH every year and adjust it as needed. Inspect your plants weekly for any pest or disease issues and address problems right away before they can impact your production. And most importantly, adjust your fertilization practices based on the plant's growth stage, reduce nitrogen, and bump up phosphorus and potassium when the plants start flowering. The journey from pepper plant to pepper harvest, well, it really does require attention to a whole bunch of interconnected factors. But understanding these relationships, it empowers you to diagnose problems accurately and put targeted solutions into action. Your pepper plants want to produce abundantly for you, and by addressing these root causes, you're basically removing the barriers that keep them from reaching their full productive potential. So, are you ready to transform your pepper growing success? Go ahead and subscribe to Smart Garden for more in-depth growing guides, troubleshooting tips, and seasonal gardening strategies that help you achieve the harvest you've always dreamed of. And hey, share this guide with fellow gardeners who might be struggling with pepper production, because everyone deserves to experience the satisfaction of homegrown peppers, fresh from their own garden. Your journey to pepper growing mastery starts with understanding these fundamental principles, and it continues with the consistent application of techniques that turn knowledge into, well, delicious results.